You're listening to CBS Sports Radio. We are all sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Strong opinions and your phone calls. Expect it here. CBS Sports Radio.
Saturday mornings this NFL playoff season, the handicappers are going live on the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel. A true NFL kickoff show without all the fluff. We'll talk all the big stories, points against the spread, over-unders, player props, plus your DFS advice. That's the handicappers, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, Saturday mornings, 90 minutes to get you ready for your NFL weekend.
Dread running to the post office? Stamps.com brings post office and UPS services right to your computer. Send letters, ship packages, and get up to 40% off USPS and up to 62% off UPS rates. Nearly 1 million small businesses use Stamps.com to save time and money. It's a no-brainer. So skip the post office and visit Stamps.com. Use promo code LISTEN for a 4-week trial plus free postage and a digital scale. That's Stamps.com, promo code LISTEN.
Take the scenic route in the new Hyundai Santa Fe. The family SUV with available H-Track all-wheel drive to help you travel way off the beaten path. Find new adventures together in the Hyundai Santa Fe.
The Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live. SEC, ACC, and Big Ten coverage like no other. Subscribe and like us today. Your first choice for sports talk live from the First Coast.
Hey, Jacksonville, winter is the perfect time to start planning for your healthy, pest-free spring lawn with True Green, America's #1 lawn care company. True Green's science-based approach and local expertise will help give your lawn the year-round care it needs to be thick and weed-free. Go to truegreen.com/radio to save 50% on your first service. Just call 866-946-5956 or go to truegreen.com/radio today and get a lawn to be proud of.
At Jewelers Mutual, we're a little obsessed with jewelry. Obsessed like auctioneers with talking fast.
50, we're going to sold.
Pop stars with auto-tune.
Yeah.
And dentists with asking questions.
So, how did he propose?
After they've put their hands in your mouth.
Great.
Yes, we've made jewelry our obsession for over 100 years. We love it so much we named our kids Ruby, Amber, and Opal.
Venti soy latte for Opal?
At Jewelers Mutual, we insure jewelry and only jewelry, which is why people who are also obsessed with jewelry trust us with theirs.
Saturday mornings this NFL playoff season, the handicappers are going live on the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel. A true NFL kickoff show without all the fluff. We'll talk all the big stories, points against the spread, over-unders, player props, plus your DFS advice. That's the handicappers, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, Saturday mornings, 90 minutes to get you ready for your NFL weekend.
Take the road less traveled in the newly redesigned Hyundai Santa Fe. With available H-Track all-wheel drive to help you get off the beaten path a little further together. And intuitive safety features that can help you see what's waiting around the bend. Plus, with generous room for 5 and comfortable available Napa leather seating, you can go for more drives as a family without driving each other crazy. Find new adventures together in the Hyundai Santa Fe.
I'm Amy Lawrence, and I'm up late, always, after hours, hanging out with you on CBS Sports Radio. Check it out, 2 a.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. Pacific.
The Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live, covering the AFC South and NFC South along with the rest of the NFL. Subscribe and like us today. Your first choice for sports talk live from the First Coast.
Alright guys, this is how to win any street fight easily. Most people when they're in a street fight swing wildly. So the key is protect your face. Always let them swing first. When they go for that first swing, you want to dodge, take out a gun, and
CBS Sports Radio, your home for all things sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, coast to coast. Great sports talk expected here. CBS Sports Radio.
Enjoy sun-drenched days, epic stays, and plenty of room to roam in Greater Fort Lauderdale. Our hotels, attractions, and restaurants have taken the Visit Lauderdale's Safe and Clean pledge so you can relax and explore with confidence. When you're ready for that well-deserved staycation, our 23 miles of golden beaches await. Find wide-open spaces to hike, bike, kayak, and paddleboard. Visit your favorite attractions, then dine out in style in socially distanced dining rooms or al fresco on waterfront patios. Learn more at sunny.org.
If you had 1 minute with every hitter, whether it's Barry Bonds or a guy struggling to hit 250, you had 1 minute, what would be the sermon?
Your number one thing you're always thinking about, absolutely, is getting a good ball to hit. Then I asked that same individual, been playing 10 years, I said, what does that mean? Now he stammers and he stutters, and it's easy. A good ball to hit is something you see real good, that looks good to you, that you could hit. And if it doesn't, if it's in that tough spot, or if it fools you, that's certainly not a good pitch if it fools you. So the two things, the ball that looks good to you in a zone that you know you can rip, the ball that does not fool you. Up to 2 strikes, that's the cardinal rule.
That's the sound of NyQuil Severe hard at work. NyQuil Severe is the best sleep with a cold medicine. No tossing and turning, just rest and recovery. So you're ready to take on tomorrow. For powerful relief of your worst cold and flu symptoms, try NyQuil Severe. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head, best sleep with a cold medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Amazon Prime members now get free grocery delivery with a minimum order. You'll get your groceries with 2-hour delivery. So in that time, you can finally figure out where the biblioteca is, learn how to play the acoustic guitar, and I guess get a puka shell necklace. Do a makeup tutorial, but realize halfway contouring is hard, and you're beautiful just as you are. Whatever it is you're doing with your time, your shopper will be carefully picking out your favorite organic meats, produce, dairy, and snacks while providing contactless delivery to your door. Free 2-hour grocery delivery, now with Prime.
Would you look at that sunset?
Okay, can you back up, please? Can you back
excuse me, I'm looking at the sunset.
But we're sitting here talking to each other. Can you just...
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, excuse you, please.
Unreal.
Okay.
I'm looking at the sunset.
Okay, you're yelling in my ear.
You're yelling.
Learn with purpose with the Great Courses Plus. You'll have unlimited access to enlightening, engaging, in-depth video and audio courses on hundreds of topics taught by incredible professors. And you can learn anywhere, anytime with the Great Courses Plus app. What purpose awaits you? Find out today with a free trial. Sign up at thegreatcoursesplus.com/radio. Remember, thegreatcoursesplus.com/radio.
Hey, Gracie.
Hey, what?
How cold is it outside?
I'm wearing 2 pairs of panties so my lips don't get chapped.
You turn it all around with this one, okay? Okay. For $100 billion, what does your girlfriend want to eat tonight? You have 20 seconds. Oh my God, you kidding me? Right now? Okay, you said you want to go to that Mexican place, right? Want to go to that Mexican place. We were outside once, you saw that old man eating by himself and you cried. You want to try that place? Maybe she wants fast food. You want fast food? I'll do fast food. You want fast food? Fast food? McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King, Taco Bell, KFC, Popeyes, Arby's, Sonic, In-N-Out, Shake Shack, Chick-fil-A, Five Guys, Wingstop, Domino's, Chipotle, Panera, Qdoba, Subway, Jimmy John's, Hooters, Denny's, Applebee's, Chewy. Oh, I'm so sorry, Eric. We were looking for whatever you want. Whatever you want, but what secretly means... Name every food place that exists. Yep, that's what we were looking for. I tried. It looks like she won't be speaking to you for another week, but the good news is, with all that time apart, you could probably have some time to watch porn and masturbate alone, so you're not leaving empty-handed. All right, okay, I'll take it. I'm not upset with that at all.
Armchair.
We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, and flat out deceived.
There's something kind of about a kid that's never played baseball.
But what the hell, boy?
Make sure to listen to the Armchair Quarterbacks. Good enough for us down here in the bayou. Go Tigers and the Armchair Quarterbacks.
Armchair. YouTube Live.
CBS Sports
Radio Station. The radio station you can call your own. Do you know what listeners like about our station? It's everything.
I like everything. It's always on my radio. We never stop the music, except for now, when I talk.
You're listening to the Armchair Quarterback Show. We're here weekdays on CBS Radio, YouTube Live, the Armchair Quarterback Show, your first choice for Southern Sports Talk. Good afternoon, Mr. Joey Ariola.
Good afternoon, Mac McGee. I don't know much, but I know one thing. I'm cracking a cold one and hoping the Texans hire Josh McCown as he got his second interview today with the Texans.
Hi, I'm Mac McGee, and I don't know much, but I know one thing. Everybody's looking for a Super Bowl rematch, but they're not looking at the one that I'm looking at. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks.
Armchair.
Community Access Channel.
He's the armchair quarterback. He's full of beer and he's full of snacks. The all-American man.
Howdy, hi, and top of the evening to you. We are ready for some happy hour. Joey Ariola, how the hell are you?
Fired up. We are at championship weekend, 4 teams to go. A lot to discuss, not only with those teams, but others as coaches finally fall off the board, along with a lot of news happening in the MLB, or maybe not so much news. I'm ready to fire up this weekend with a nice little happy hour.
I am ready to go and try out Cam Newton for the Tennessee Titans after what I saw. I don't know much, but I know one thing. Tannehill can't come back. I'm sorry, but he can't.
Tannehill for Wentz, straight up.
If you bring Tannehill back for the final year of his deal, you have to have made some kind of a draft move. What they did on Saturday, that defense was relentless. They put Joe Burrow on his ass constantly. And Tannehill gave it away with 3 ridiculous interceptions.
And that's the problem in this league. You know, Tannehill and Carson Wentz, both guys, if you look at their numbers in the regular season, you're going to say, okay, respect that. But when it comes down to the fourth quarter and it comes down to playoffs, these are guys you just cannot trust. And they, quite honestly, the Titans have too good of a roster. When you have 9 sacks and the best running back in football, you should not be losing that game because of your quarterback.
No, and as bad as they played, they were still set to win that game.
Yes.
And then he throws yet another interception. It's pathetic, and it sucks too. I'll tell you what sucks the most about it. For your average football fan, they think they're going to get this great matchup of Joe Burrow versus Patrick Mahomes.
Oof.
I think it's going to be an absolute butt kicking. I think it's going to be a domination of the Kansas City Chiefs. And you're going to have a terrible AFC championship game. And I'm getting ready and looking forward to the NFC championship game. I'll put the game on, and I'm planning on sitting down around the fourth quarter to watch it and then lock into the actual game. But I got some stuff I'm going to do around the house. To be honest with you, I don't think it's going to be a very good game. I think Kansas City's going to torch them. And I think Burrow's going to be running for his life like he was against the Titans. The difference is, he's not going to be going up against Tannehill. He's going to be going up against Mahomes, and Mahomes is going to find his way into yet another Super Bowl.
So, it's funny you mentioned that. It takes me back to 2014 when a young Andrew Luck made the AFC Championship and went against another great quarterback in Tom Brady, similar to Mahomes here now. And, it's been a nice story. Like then it was a cute story, but these championship games are built different. It's Super Bowl worthy. You're one game away from it all on the grand stage. And I just think the Bengals have done a lot of nice things, but it's not quite their time yet. And to win on, they're going to need a plethora of things happen, as I think the Chiefs just keep rolling.
It kind of reminds me of when the Bills blew out the Raiders back about 30 years ago in the AFC Championship game. I think it's going to be that kind of a game. I don't think, and it hurts them even worse that they won the first game, right?
Yep.
So they can't even sneak up on the Chiefs because the Chiefs are going to remember that, and they're going to remember the fact that they almost didn't get to play the AFC Championship game at home because of the Bengals, and the Bengals were strutting their stuff and all that. It's not going to go down that way. Mahomes, I just don't think he's going to allow it. And they should be fully healthy. They should be getting the Honey Badger back in the defensive backfield, which is huge.
Yep.
For the defensive passing game, when the Honey Badger isn't in, the numbers are ridiculously lopsided. Jamar Chase went for 266 and 3 touchdowns in the first meeting. It's not going to happen, my friend. It's just not going to happen. They're going to find a way to put the lockdown on him and make Burrow beat him with anybody but Jamar Chase.
And you're going to pretty much have to be perfect, because in a hostile environment in Kansas City where it's going to be pretty cold. I got the weather in front of me now. Well, I mean, I guess football weather, it's 44 and sunny today. It could change by the weekend, but at the same token, they're just going to have to pretty much play lights out football. And like you said, they can't sneak up on them. They can't play that card, because the Chiefs, it just was a short month ago where they got beat by this team in the other stadium. So the Chiefs are going to be looking to come out, roll on all cylinders. And I think it could get pretty sloppy myself.
Yeah. You're looking at, if you're looking at the actual weather, right now it's 29 degrees in,
maybe that's what it's predicting for game time. Sunday is 40, 45 and sunny. AccuWeather. Yeah, that's for the sun. Not right now, sorry, but that is for Sunday around the 3 o'clock hour.
Gotcha. I didn't know if you had the wrong Kansas City, but I mean, it shouldn't make a difference because you know they're literally split down the middle. For the weekend, I swear, man, the weather app. Website sucks, man. That's always breaking. Like I try to go on it to find things, and I can never find it. But anyways, not important. I don't think weather's going to be much of a factor. 48 degrees, like you mentioned, partly cloudy. That's going to be nothing. What that does is that plays into the Chiefs.
Yes, exactly.
The Chiefs are going to absolutely roast Cincinnati, and I really don't think it's going to be particularly close. And that's going to be the biggest disappointment of this weekend. Thankfully, that's the early game, and we get the night game that we get to look forward to, because I think that's going to be a classic. 49ers, Rams one more time on a neutral field, essentially, because the 49ers are bringing their fans.
Oh, yeah.
They are absolutely bringing their fans. There was a report that came out this morning that said that I forget the guy's name, but he sold a boat ton of tickets to a 49er booster club last night or the night before at premium price, and they're debating on whether or not it was legal or whatever. The 49ers are bringing thousands of people with them. It's going to sound like a bowl game, okay? Because every time someone has the ball, the crowd's going to be involved. It does not matter whether it's 49ers or Rams. I'm leaning towards the 49ers in that game. You know, I'll give my picks later, but he's thumped McVay over and over and over again. And right now, I believe the line is 3.5. Is it still 3.5 still?
Still 3.5. Yep.
Yeah. If you want that line, you better grab it, because I don't think it's going to stay there. I think it's going to go closer to the 49er side, meaning money's going to come in on San Francisco. And I think people are going to want a field goal on the hook and a game that could be a toss up. And I believe you're going to end up, especially, the game's only being expected over under at 45.5. And if we do get a low scoring game, which wouldn't be crazy, because a low scoring game would make sense in a divisional rivalry game. It's the third time they match up, right?
Yep.
If they end up with the low scoring game, man, a field goal and 3.5 points could be huge.
And here's a little tidbit here, as I absolutely love that 3.5 hook. The last 6 times they played, San Fran has won, and 4 of the times the Rams were the favorites. So take all the points while you can get them. 3.5 is a huge difference from what could be 2.5, 3 when we get to Sunday.
Yeah, and if you look at the first couple of matchups, so the most recent one, which sticks out in everyone's head, San Fran won by a field goal, right? Earlier in the year in San Francisco, and I think that's the one you have to throw out. 49ers routed the Rams 31-10. And there were a lot of factors in that, but here's the number one factor. That game was in Candlestick, or it's not called Candlestick anymore, but but the game was in the Bay. The game
should be.
The game that was played in San Francisco, in Los Angeles, that was a field goal game. That was a nip and tuck back and forth ball game. And am I mistaken, or did that game go to overtime? I feel like it went to overtime. It did go to overtime.
Because they were down 17-0.
What's that?
They were down 17-0, right? And that I think in that week 18 matchup, I think San Fran at the half was down 17-0 against the Rams.
At the half, it looks like it was 17-3, but yes,
or 17-3 maybe.
I remember watching that game. It was 17-0 at one point. They kicked a late field goal.
Okay.
To make it 17-3, and then they tied it up going to the fourth quarter. They shared a couple of touchdowns, and then San Fran won in overtime. Now, look, if it comes down to something like that, you can't guarantee who's going to win a game, and that's why I think this is one of the most intriguing matchups we've ever had in the championship games, because it's teams that are familiar with each other. They're not scared of each other, and it's going to come down to who makes the big play. It really is. With Kansas City, I think they're just going to be too much. And Cincinnati's about 2 years too early, and they'll figure that out. They took a huge step this year, but you're going to see regression next year. You always do. Look what happened to Baltimore, right?
You get that first place schedule after you win the division. They're going to get
punched in the mouth on Sunday, and they're going to realize, man, we got to fix our defense. That's what's going to happen. And man, our offensive line is trash. Which Tennessee proved. What they sack up 9-10 times? Something like this. Ridiculous.
Yeah, it was either 9 or 9.5. It was a record.
Yeah, and not to mention how many times they hit them. Yeah, so that's going to be an issue because Kansas City will bring the heat. And if you end up falling behind, the only chance Cincinnati has, they have to get out to an early lead. Because if they fall behind and they have to start chucking it, that means that the Cincinnati defensive front is just going to pin their ears back, and you're essentially going to take Joe Mixon out of the game. So
you can't get into you got to get ahead early, get a couple of turnovers, maybe get Mahomes sloppy, but it ain't going to be easy.
So here's the topic that I really want to jump in on. Justin's going to join us in the bottom of the hour, and we'll get back into more NFL talk. And this is some NFL talk, and then we're gonna jump to baseball in a second.
Cool.
Look, did you see this thing about Mina Kimes and Jeff Garcia?
I did. I read about it this morning.
What? What? Your girl Mina Kimes is mixing it up. She's in it again.
Man, because I don't know, for people that don't know the story, do you want to give the short version real quick?
You go ahead.
Well, essentially, from what I gather, is it's this around Jimmy Garoppolo, pretty much saying, right, that they're winning in spite of him. It's like that group project where everyone,
and that's one of my biggest issues of this whole thing. She stole that line from a TikTok that someone made about Mac Jones when he only threw 3 passes.
Really?
Yeah,
I did not know that.
That line. It was that was a TikTok that got several 100,000 views. Okay, because I remember when it was said, and I was like, that's actually pretty damn funny, right? Then I find out she says it about Jimmy Garoppolo, and everyone pats her on the back and says, "You're so funny, Mina." She's a hack. She's a hack, and everyone just pats her on the back because they don't want to offend her because, don't piss off the female. It's got nothing to do with her being a female. She's a hack. Okay. Jeff Garcia came back at her, and I don't like how he came back at her because he made the comment, she's never thrown a touchdown pass, blah, blah, blah. Well,
a lot of people have it.
Look, when you do that, you instantly negate any female that ever wants to talk about sports. And so I don't like that. Okay.
Correct.
There are plenty of females that I think highly of that have had hell of a career in sports. The Andrea Kramers come to mind. I don't want to start naming them off because I'm gonna leave some out, but the Hannah Storms, etc. So I don't like that argument. And I did notice that he did delete the Instagram after he said it. He went back and deleted, but someone screenshot it. But the one valid point that he did have is that she doesn't understand, and it's got nothing to do with her being a female, not have played in the NFL. Garoppolo is doing the little things to win the games. Okay. And I know he's not lighting it up, but did Aaron Rodgers light up the 49ers? And they're going to give him the MVP.
Yeah, and it's funny, they never kill the top of these legends. That Drew Brees, who just went out, Aaron Rodgers, one Super Bowl, not clutch. Jimmy G, like you said, okay, is he not making all those big passes where he's having 300 yards, 3 touchdowns? No, but not any quarterback could be on the 49ers right now and be in the NFC Championship game. There's a reason they could reach a Super Bowl for a couple of times the past few years, and Jimmy G's a part of it, not in spite of it.
Well, let's also look at this too. This isn't the first time Jimmy G's been to the Super Bowl. And I am by no means saying that he is a great NFL quarterback and is going to go to the Hall of Fame, right?
Correct.
His career would have to change immensely if that were to happen. But he's doing the smart things to get the W's, okay? He's won 2 playoff games here. What is he, 4 or 5-1 lifetime in the playoffs?
Yeah,
and
because
ought to be undefeated, because had the play calling not been so damn stupid in the Super Bowl, the Chiefs would be looking, who the Chiefs would be right now? They'd be the Buffalo Bills of the early 90s.
That would be
Everyone
wild.
You can't win the big one. But they played it stupid in that Super Bowl and blew, what was it, 10-point lead?
It was 20-10 with about 10 minutes left.
Right.
Yep.
So they gave up 3 touchdowns.
Yep.
And it was basically off of poor offensive play calling. The same crap that happened with Shanahan when he was with the Falcons.
Yep.
Right. It was just a replay. And I'm not going to kill Shanahan, because honestly, I think Shanahan's a very good coach.
So do I.
And sometimes you get wrapped up and you make stupid calls and you have to own up to it. Doesn't mean you're a bad coach, man. I'll take a coach who loses me the big game any day of the week than the guy that can't get me to the damn thing. Right.
And it's like they always say, who you gonna, get rid of him, who you gonna replace him with? Like you said, he gets people to the big game. You know how many franchises out there would die for a playoff shot, let alone going to 2 Super Bowls potentially in the past 3 seasons? I mean, come on, he's doing an absolutely phenomenal job with some questionable play calling, but you're going to have that in long seasons always, as much as he had great calls throughout the entire football season.
And he's got a fan base that's going to travel to the NFC Championship game. And whoa, if they get to the Super Bowl, that's just right down the road.
Yeah.
That place isn't going to be just jam-packed with 49ers. They're a darling team that's starting to make that run. Now, everyone's looking at the Bengals right now and thinking that they're the underdog that's going to make this run. I think it's the 49ers, because they've got the defense. They've got the running game. And they've got a veteran quarterback who doesn't make. He'll make some questionable throws, but if you reel him in, he won't do it.
No, and that's what he's there to just make enough throws, not make the throw. So he might have a mistake here or there, but that San Fran defense is so good. That running game is so good. They're going to find ways to score other ways, just like they did with the pump block on Sunday. But
the Mina Kimes thing is just, to me, it's the funniest damn thing, because
I didn't know she stole it.
Oh yeah, she stole it from TikTok. No one's bringing it up either. I don't know who coined it. But right. Whenever that Buffalo New England game, when that was during the season, because it was the game that we did play by play, me and Tones, when Mac Jones literally threw 3 passes.
Yeah.
Someone made a TikTok of him right after the game, his press conference, and the caption said something to that effect. The kid that that gets an A on the science project, but didn't really participate, and she stole it almost word for word. And so once again, I was like, you can't even come up with your own quips, because that's what everyone always tends to like about her is her own little quips. That she puts
right.
And you could tell that they're written down on a ledger in front of her, and she throws them in. Okay. And I really don't have a problem with that, because that's what she wants to be known for. So she's prepared. You can't hate on anyone who's prepared.
No.
But don't steal someone's. Man, that's like sitting out there quoting Mark Twain left and right and not giving it the props, right? You can't sit there and take something and and steal it and then try to berate someone and look like you're the funny smart.
So wait a minute then. Like you just said, she took someone's school project and got the A when she said it.
Exactly. Jeff Garcia came in with the heat. When I first heard about this morning, the show I was listening to kept saying Jeff Garcia, and I thought they were gotten it in there because they were older guys. I thought they were meaning Jimmy Garoppolo. I was like, why do they keep saying? Because every once in a while, the guy was saying Jimmy Garcia, and I was like, it's Garoppolo. What the hell? So I finally had to Google it. I was like, what in the hell? What the hell? I was like, whoa! It was all over Twitter. What a schmuck. But I don't know why Jeff Garcia is pounding his chest. Like, I mean, Jeff Garcia didn't win a Super Bowl.
He came out of the woodworks.
Yeah, literally.
Like what?
When they started talking about a Jeff Garcia incident on Twitter, you know what my first thought process went to was that old school story. You might be too young to remember this, but there was, and this is back when it was okay to out people and shame them for being homosexual or whatever. Terrell Owens shamed Jeff Garcia and insinuated that he was a homosexual.
I definitely remember hearing about that actually way long ago. Yeah.
And that's what I thought. I was like, did this stupid crap resurface again?
No, he came at Mina Kimes.
Mina Kimes, take your stupid Seattle Seahawk Miami Hurricane fandom and kick rocks, man.
Oh my gosh. Just terrible teams to be a fan of.
Yeah, I'm talking to you, Brian. But yeah, let's switch gears real quick because we're going to run out of time for this. The MLB, just get everyone caught up to speed. They have made some huge progress this week, and I'm for one am very, very optimistic about them getting spring training actually started on time.
Well, and that's kind of what I wanted to, you're to me, my baseball guy. I go to you for the most of the news here. I wanted to get your thoughts. So you're feeling pretty good, you would say, about this week, and like that things will get pitchers and catchers reporting probably and all that on the dates that we're supposed to in early February.
Yeah. So if folks are wanting to know like what's going on, the short of it is this: the MLB and MLBPA, they threw a couple offers at each other and back and forth, whatever. That's not important. The important thing is, what do we have now? Major League Baseball Players Association had been talking about getting rid of the 6-year rule. And the 6-year rule means you have to be in the league 6 years before you become a free agency, before you hit free agents. The NFL was hard, fast, not wanting that. And everyone thought that was going to be the issue, man. That was going to be the issue that sticks. MLBPA came off of it. And then they said, all right, fine. But we're going to want something in return. That was huge.
Yep.
And then they also came off of the arbitration Super 2 rule. They want to get rid of that. So MLB came back and said, you know what, if you're going to get rid of that, this is what we're going to do for you. And it's kind of hard to explain the formula, but here's the gist of it. What the baseball players have always been upset about, it takes you 6 years to get to free agency. It usually takes you about 3 to 4 years to get to true arbitration. Okay. And they've always felt like that they've lost money. What they have designed now is a system in place where, let's say if a kid comes up in May of this year, and I'm just going to throw a random team. We'll take a team that can't afford it, the Kansas City Royals. Okay.
Yep.
And that kid goes bananas, wins Rookie of the Year. Let's say he does a couple other things. I'll give you an example. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Remember the year he had this year?
Oh,
he's still on his rookie deal. And what had happened in the past is, Vladdy, you're going to hit free agency after your 6th year, but for right now, you're getting $600,000 a year, and I know we would all take that, but that's peanuts compared to what his peers are making
for what he's producing.
In place where Vladimir Guerrero Jr., if this deal was agreed upon, he would have made $3.7 million this year. Here's the bigger thing. It's not paid by the clubs. It's paid by a pool of by Major League Baseball. So if a team like Kansas City gets hit with the big pop like that, they no longer have to worry about paying the toll, which also means they won't be so gun shy bringing them up from the minors. They're like, you know what? If it falls into this realm while they're rookies, then the MLB pool is going to take care of it.
Yeah, and I remember when
that's an extreme case because it's giving them a bump in pay for all of them. But I was just using an extreme case of a guy that was only going to make 600, and they're saying now that it would be sitting at right between 3.7, but more feel like it'd be 3.9 million.
Yeah, I can remember back to 2014-15 when Chris Bryant was a rookie, and we had to wait about a month and a half with
Same
all
thing.
those. And I'm sure there's many examples out there, like you're saying, but that one sticks out to me the most as a Cubs fan.
They did the same thing with Acuna. They did the same. Yep. They do it with all of them.
There's so many. Yeah.
I'll take an example. A good friend of the show and comes on the show pretty regularly. Stephen Trosh. Okay. Mm-hmm. He's a Marlin fan.
Yep.
This helps out his Marlins immensely because now if they normally have a pretty good, they're usually top 15 in baseball in their farm system. They can bring guys up now, and if the guys perform, it's Major League Baseball that will pay that, not the club. So that was huge, and so yesterday, and I believe this morning, they were working out the little things, the stuff that's that people don't really care about, but it's got to get done because it's all a part of the collective bargaining agreement. Okay. But it's all going in a great direction. And there's only a couple of small things that I would say are going to get that have to be hammered out, but they're already going in a good direction because they had so much momentum. They wanted to knock out the little stuff this week at the end of the week, and then they're going to go back to the bargaining table on there's a couple other bigger things. Basically the percentage split in revenue would be the next big thing. That's probably the biggest thing left. And so they'll work on that probably next week. It may be the following week.
Figure it out. Let's get it.
That's right. But regardless, I think we're heading in a good direction, and you're going to and look, the players don't really give a crap and the owners don't really give a crap if spring training starts on time. What the players give a crap about is, will the regular season start on time? And so if they have to shorten the spring training, nobody cares. You don't get much money from your ticket sales. You don't get any television money out of it. The only people that really care about that, Joey, are the writers and the broadcasters that get out of Boston and go hang out in South Florida for a month.
Something to talk about when the sports land is a little bit dry.
Well, plus because their expenses are paid and they get to go hang out.
They get. I mean, yeah,
not get stuck up in Chicago or Boston or New York in the middle of February and March. So that's. But as far as money wise, none of them get. No one cares. They're looking at it if they can get spring training going about the first or second week of March, they can get the regular season going, and away we go. And I think it's all coming in. All right, we're going to take an extremely quick break. When we come back, it's going to be talk. It's going to be NFL wall to wall from here on. We'll be back in a flash with our picks, our locks, and things to look for. You're listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks.
Make 2021 your year. Learn with purpose with the Great Courses Plus. You'll have unlimited access to enlightening, engaging, in-depth video and audio courses on hundreds of topics taught by incredible professors. And you can learn anywhere, anytime with the Great Courses Plus app. What purpose awaits you? Find out today with a free trial. Sign up at thegreatcoursesplus.com/radio. Remember, thegreatcoursesplus.com/radio.
To protect his family from disaster, Steve used his camera phone. Done. By taking pictures of his important documents, Steve can always have them stored online. Learn more simple disaster prep tips at ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hey, Jacksonville, winter is the perfect time to start planning for your healthy, pest-free spring lawn with True Green, America's #1 lawn care company. True Green's science-based approach and local expertise will help give your lawn the year-round care it needs to be thick and weed-free. Go to truegreen.com/radio to save 50% on your first service. Just call 866-946-5956 or go to truegreen.com/radio today and get a lawn to be proud of.
My service rates went up. You banks are all the same with your hidden fees and your service charges. Well, maybe I'll just take my blood elsewhere. Yeah.
Well, we could transfer it to another bank for you.
Oh, no more banks. I'm keeping my blood in my freezer with my money.
Get your Sunday football morning started off right with the Handicappers on Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube, 10 a.m. Eastern to noon Eastern. Your Sunday morning kickoff show where we tackle your NFL lines out in the desert, a 61.2% win rate over the last 6 years. Against the spread, over, under, money line, you name it. And we dive into the world of fantasy football year-long and your DFS payouts. Your only true Southern football kickoff show that talks the spreads in Vegas, your DFS and fantasy, and your year-long quest to win that fantasy football championship. Only on the Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube channel. It's the Handicappers on Armchair Quarterbacks YouTube, 10 a.m. Eastern to noon Eastern. Sundays, all NFL season long.
I know the way I feel about this one. It's classic idealization. Surprised I know what idealization means? Yeah. Me too. I have no idea how it got in there.
Welcome back here to the Armchair Quarterbacks, as it is NFC Championship weekend. You know, the only bummer, Joey, is that you don't get anything on Saturday, right? But other than that, Sunday's the greatest football day on the calendar.
Yeah, start getting your
because everybody gets together. But let's be honest, if you get two good games, you're going to enjoy Sunday more than you will the Super Bowl.
Oh, absolutely. You always, I know we alluded to the first game maybe not being so good, but you hope for two great games, because when you get down to 4 teams and you get this close, the last thing you want is a blowout to cap off what is always a great NFL season.
And I do believe we're going to get a great Super Bowl. Most likely it's going to be the Chiefs versus whoever wins the California game.
Yep.
But if, let's say, for instance, the Bengals are able to pull it off, if they don't wither against the Kansas City Storm, I'm not worried about them going up against the California kids. I don't think they're going to win, but I don't think they would get blown out, right?
Chiefs are the top of the mountain that's remaining, so I totally agree.
Yeah, because any matchup you give me, if the Bengals win, they're going to be out physicaled by San Francisco or the Los Angeles defensive line.
So, you know, one question going back, and we don't want to look back on it too long, but I wanted your opinion on this all week as I was thinking about it. When the Rams beat the Buccaneers, what was the last play to Cooper Kupp? They brought a blitz, Todd Bowles. Now you go to the Bills and the Chiefs. When the Chiefs were going down the field, especially in overtime, they were getting that soft coverage. So my thing is okay, you get a lot of people complaining about the blitz on one side. You get a lot of people complaining about the zone on another. It's a tough spot for these defenses when you're playing these elite quarterbacks. When you're in that, you know, area of where you could battle overtime, or you're in that close game against a great, do you risk it and bring more pressure if you're a D coordinator, or do you kind of play that 2-man under where you just try to keep things in front of you and hope for the best?
First of all, Brian.
Yeah, I see.
You can't be yapping about baseball players making too much money when you ride every football player's jockstrap. A guy who continuously makes terrible errors like Dak Prescott makes what, $2 million a game, $2.5 million a game,
a lot
a game, $2.5 million a game. So That's a clown comment right there. But anyways, and by the way, men don't have Instagram. And so let's just stop that whole freaking nonsense. Instagram. We're gonna get it. I'm look at your cupcakes and stuff. You want me to go sign up for Instagram? We've got an account, and I don't know when the last time we ever posted anything, unless I've linked it to something like our Twitter or Facebook.
Right.
No idea when the last time we've actually. Hell, who the hell knows? We might be on Instagram Live right now, and I don't realize I did it. You're asking. Throw that question at me one more time.
Yeah. So a long story short, because it involved two games. If you're in a situation against one of these great quarterbacks like a Matthew Stafford or Patrick Mahomes, and they have one drive where you're either tied or up 3, are you gonna sometimes risk the biscuit and try to get to that quarterback? Or are you always gonna play that 2-man under where you let them get 10 to 15?
Okay, but how much time's left on the clock?
We're in either situation. We're always going, with about under 2 minutes. Under a minute, about anywhere from about a minute to a minute and a half. And you got a team you're either tied with or you're up 3 against a great quarterback. Because a lot of people were like, Bowles, why'd you bring pressure? You're against a great Matthew Stafford. But then look, Leslie Frazier brought nothing, and Mahomes got it to Hill and Kelsey on 2 straight passes, and it was Swiss cheese. It's hard to get a good defense going against a great quarterback, I guess is my point. Whether you play soft or you bring the pressure, these great quarterbacks make great throws when it's in crunch time.
Justin's trying to join, by the way. I'm listening to him, but I'm trying to do 6 things at once. So basically, we're going down to the Kansas City Buffalo game.
Essentially.
Okay. The 13 seconds left on the clock. What lost that game, and everyone wants to point. Dude, squib kick the damn
yes.
Because if you squib kick it, I'm not saying it couldn't have gone the way that it did, but if you squib kick it, let's say they fall on the ball immediately and 1, maybe 2 seconds gets thrown out. They're going to be deep in their territory. It's not going to be the 25 unless they're very fortunate and the ball hits an up man and he's able to corral it. That guy's most likely going to kick the ball around and not be able to get down.
And single digits would be left at that point.
Yeah, so that's number 1. Number 2, considering they're who they have, I'm putting 2-3 guys on their speedsters on that first play, and I'm going to make a guy like Kelsey burn me on the first play, because what made the Kelsey play, the second play, so doable was because how much ground was covered by Hill in the first play.
Exactly. And a lot of people always say, hey, you know what? Give them a few yards to roam, keep them in the middle of the field. But when you're that fast with Tyreek Hill, we saw it did not take much to get that 49-yard field goal. That ended up being pretty easy for a great kicker in Harrison Butker. But it's just always interesting to me to see when these defenses' backs are against the wall. I've been noticing the great quarterback usually comes through more times than not.
Well, 13 seconds seems ridiculous.
That one was.
It really does seem ridiculous. And look, I went back and watched it. I feel like there was a little home cooking on the clock. I still think they would have been able to set up with about a second left, regardless. Because if you look at the 2 plays, it feels like the clock started a little slow.
They should have lost 1 more second on the Hill play for sure.
But that's the advantage of playing at home. Okay.
Yeah.
When you let a team go, what is it, 65 yards? I think Justin's with us now.
He is. His symbol's up at least.
Okay. If you let if you let Mahomes and company go 65 yards in 10 seconds, I'm sorry, but it's on you. I've never been a fan of prevent defense because I always feel like you're preventing yourself from winning. Justin, are you with us?
Maybe just the Titan symbol.
I could just all right, he dipped out, so I can't tell if he's with us or not. But anyways, we'll keep an eye on it. I feel like what we're looking at when you have a situation, especially with the 13 seconds, you want to play deep defense. You don't want to do the stupid thing like Florida State did against Jackson State and let a guy run deep, or like the Bucks did and got smoked by Cooper Kupp.
Right.
But I also don't believe you don't want to not put any pressure on the quarterback, because if you have an elite quarterback, give him all the time in the world. What you're really asking for is for him to be able to just play pitch and catch. Justin, are you with us?
I sure hope so, man.
There he is, man of the hour.
I feel like Ryan Tannehill starting off the playoff game, just intercepting right off the game.
You keep shrinking on us, man. I keep waiting for you to show up like Beetlejuice. The guy at the end.
Whatever jersey you got him, you're going to have to get it a size.
This big. I was like this big.
His armchair jersey might be a little big.
I know. By the way, this finally came in. We're getting them out either this weekend or early next week, so in time for the Super Bowl.
Absolutely
awesome. They finally came in. They're spelled right, everything, and everyone's got the number 14, and Justin knows why. So, finally. And now that we've got them in our possession, we're going to contest the first payment, because they try to charge us twice for a mistake they made.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Well,
can never blame yourself in 2022, right?
I mean, it's like whatever. All right, Justin, where the hell are we at on the docket? I'm all over the board, man. We're over here trying to talk baseball and football, and Brian's trying to tell us about gender reveals. Like, I don't know, man. Let me put some wine in a glass and we'll here and chat about gender reveals.
With the Indians hat on, I was looking forward to a little baseball there. Did I miss the Freddie Freeman talk? Have we touched it yet?
We haven't touched Freddie Freeman talk. We talked about the MLB and MLBPA going in the right direction, and I think we're going to get baseball back sooner than later. Speaking of that, so that's the kind of stuff that I think is going to motivate the players to get everything done, maybe even as early as like Super Bowl week. I don't mean week before, but I mean the week after, because you've got a lot of guys who haven't signed deals that really want to get their deals done. And I do believe that Freddie is going to sign with the Indians, like we talked to it. No, I'm joking with you.
You had me for a moment. I was hoping somebody's close to the dump button, because what was coming?
No, I would just be shocked. I think the biggest thing, he wants that 6th year. They don't want to give it. I think they should give it. He's 32. You count that out, he'll be 32 this year. So it's 32, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He'll be 37. I am a firm believer that Freddie Freeman will still be a very, very good, if not elite, first baseman at the age of 37. So, and the guys and the guy gave us a break, and I think that's why he deserves that 6th year. And if we stomp our heels and say we're only going to give him 4 or 5, and they won't give him that extra year, and he leaves, I'm sorry, but we can't hate on it. Now, if he goes somewhere else just to spite him, signs a 4 or 5 year deal, then you can be like, all right, what the hell, man? But
he goes to he takes that deal and runs. What's the one thing? What's your plan B? Do you have one?
Rizzo.
I got one name.
Rizzo.
Ooh, okay.
That's who I Olsen. Because I think you could get Rizzo on a 4 or 5 year deal much cheaper than Freddie. But you have to pay some, but you're not going to have to break the bank, so to speak. I don't think Rizzo is going to bring in 30 a year. I think he'll be more like a guy that would want 5 year, 100 million, maybe 120. Right.
Yep.
And he's around the same age. And I'll tell you what, man, I've always liked Rizzo. I've always thought he was phenomenal. I always wanted the Braves to go get him in a DH situation, but we're screwed on that deal. We got Ozuna until something happens. I mean, we'd have to. Did you see Ozuna win the MVP in the Dominican League?
No way.
So that's anyone who thinks somehow, some way, like he's just going to not play baseball again, that is over. He was even doing selfies. I'm like, oh, you didn't even come up with something new yet. He was doing selfies with the players. I'm like, oh, let's go. But yeah, I believe it's going to be Freddie. I think the Dodgers are going to make a very strong push. Maybe the Yankees, but the Yankees seem like they've been cheaper than they used to be. Like me and Justin's youth, we always think of the Yankees being the big spenders. I don't think they're going to blow the bank up, but they need to find out. And Justin, I think what they need to do is go to them once the lockout ends. Dude, this is our final offer. And if you're not going to play ball with us, we got to figure something out because we are a legitimate World Series contender and we are not going to be left without an elite first baseman. So here's your deal. But we're going to give, there's 2 or 3 other first basemen out there that you can go out there and sign. My favorite's Rizzo, but I'm going to start throwing money at them and go, dude, whoever answers first.
Olson's on my list as well. You know, he not a lot of folks get to watch that West Coast baseball, but there's a lot of talent, and he's up for contract as well. I've heard there's been rumors all the way down. You could go to Schwarber if you wanted to talk into that, but it just depends on how big a doom and gloom you want to go. I think they get it done. I think the shortened off season and the negotiation is going to make everything warp speed, and I think we're going to see it's going to come fast. Like you said, final offer, here it is. And
here's my other thing. Would Freddie go out and say, "Here, all right, guys, here's the thing. Let's sign a 1-year 25 or 1 year $30 million deal, 35, whatever. And I'm going to go hit free agency again next year when it's a full year, when it's a full off season." Could that happen?
He's got a ring. He's going to lock down the years, or I would think that's what his agent is putting in his ear.
But what if he's not getting 4, 5, 6 years let's say he's not getting a 6-year deal somewhere else, and he thinks whatever the Braves are offering, though it may be the highest available, isn't what he thinks he's worth. Could he play the it's essentially like a franchise tag game, right?
That's what I was going to say. Give him himself the franchise tag.
Right.
I don't know if the Braves would pay a franchise when you're just coming off the World Series. Are you going to? Well, maybe they do. Maybe
right now, if we can give Cole Hamels $19 million to throw 4 pitches
to get hurt by a yoga ball. Don't forget how it happened.
Yeah, well, never forget.
Real pitchers go 3 innings with a broke leg. You know, they don't get hurt by yoga balls.
By the way, Bobby, if you're watching, do not turn over to NFL Network right now. Ben Roethlisberger and what was that dude's name? Washington? No, is it Washington?
Santonio Holmes.
Santonio Holmes is they're about to break your heart.
That was an amazing Super Bowl.
Yeah,
different time.
All right, let's go ahead and get into. I like the topic that Justin came up with, so let's jump into that.
I came up with a topic.
How many points would you have to take? Would you have to have before you would take the Bengals this weekend? Justin, I'll start with you.
Well, I mean, when I threw that bet out, I didn't know it was going to be the topic, but I had 13 in my mind. But honestly, right now, I would take I'd 8.5. I want another point. 7.5 is still close enough. I'm not feeling good, but 8.5 is I'm interested.
Okay, so you'd be willing to buy up to 8.5.
Mm-hmm.
Joey, what about you?
I love this question, and for me, it would have to be 10.5 for me to take the Bengals.
For me, it'd have to be 15.5. I'm much more likely. So, in other words, let's say you decided you're going to do a tease, right? And your traditional tease is your 6-point teaser. So we'll just leave it at that. You can tease all kinds, but it's traditional. But let's say you even go crazy enough and say 7-point teaser because you'll win a little less. I'm more likely to take the Chiefs on the money line on a teaser than to take the Bengals plus 14 because I'd be really concerned that game could get away from the offensive line. And if you did that, you could take that other 7 points and give me the 49ers plus 10.5. I think that definitely gets you.
I think you should lock that one in after the show.
I already did it the other night.
Oh, okay.
I did that if you.
I'll give you a point and lock in with you after the show. 14.5. I'll take the Bengals plus 14.5. You want to throw that out on some tokens?
You give me the Chiefs on the money line?
Ooh. Against my points. We'll talk after.
Yeah. Now that you mention this whole thing's getting confusing. I'm like, wait, what am I pulling for?
And those three out there,
you should have took it. You should have took it when I offered it. It was 13.5. That's what I wanted, and that's what
about
started
the
this all
Niners? How many points would you need to take the Niners?
Man, that one. I don't know.
I'll take them on the money line.
Bingo.
They're going to win.
I hope you're right, gentlemen.
I'll give a point.
I want to see the rematch of the 88 Super Bowl. I want Bengals Niners rematch.
I
guess it would be the 89 Super Bowl for the 88 season.
I still keep watching that replay, hoping Randall L's feet didn't get in bounds. I mean, Holmes. Holmes. Like, I feel like they should have pushed him out of bounds.
Was that
I think back then the rule was you couldn't put you if you pushed him out of bounds, because
force out rule.
Yeah.
Yeah, that essentially was where if it was a judgment call by the ref, if they thought they would.
I don't remember when that changed, Justin, but you remember that when we were growing up as kids, if you pushed a guy out of bounds, it was the judgment call of the umpire.
Yep,
I know it took place still in 2005.
It may have been that game. Isn't that when they flickered the power so he couldn't see whether they were in or out, and that's how the game turned? Or am I mixing my Super Bowls? Was that not the big power outage game?
Power went out in the Baltimore San Fran.
2012.
Okay.
But I don't know. I mean, the power might have flickered because I remember that night. Well, don't remember the game as well, but I remember that night very vividly because me and my roommate Timus and the neighbors across the street, we were bat crap hammered. I mean, I always get intoxicated on the Super Bowl, but that one I remember being like freaking literally cross-eyed. I was arguing that dude was out of bounds, but I couldn't tell. I had a lot better eyesight back then. Not that night.
I think any of us have very good eyesight on Super Bowl nights. That's why Monday should be a holiday. How about let's start that? Can we get that started?
Well, it's a mini holiday because
Monday after Super Bowl should be a holiday. Just it should be.
I always tell whatever employer I have that I've got a doctor's appointment the next day and said that I'm gonna be a little late for work. They never do the math because I do it weeks in advance and they go, okay, sweet.
My real quick, my worst Super Bowl thing was I had the Falcons money line against the Patriots in that big comeback. I had a lot to drink, fell asleep at halftime, woke up in overtime and lost all my money. So that just they get you.
So I think I'm scheduled to come in that day, like noon, 12:30, whatever it was I said.
Okay, you'll take that.
Whatever I said my doctor's appointment was. I had to it's either 12 or 12:30. It doesn't really matter. But I was like, I'm not getting up at 8 o'clock in the morning. Back when Justin and I used to do the show every single morning, we never did one the morning after the Super Bowl. What are you, nuts?
Who's your doctor? Seymour Butts?
Exactly. Dr. Alcoholic. But when I was in the restaurant business, I never had to worry about it because Mondays are so damn slow. I'm like, dude, you're either off or you're asleep anyways in a booth. I'm not,
Or you're just maintaining until you get off.
Yeah. That the morning after the Christmas party at the old Crockett's, Justin, I remember me and our buddy Benji, and I feel like there was another person there. We continued to do shots the next morning because they had left them all over the place. And so we continued to do shots. I'm telling you, by the time the lunch rush hit, it wasn't much of one because it was right before Christmas. So it was like a Tuesday or whatever. Dude, I mean, I was schmammered. I can't figure out how to ring stuff in. I've been working there 3 years. I'm like, oh, just going to the back going, and there is a cheeseburger. Figure it out, man. What? That is terrible.
Got fired from that place. Wonder why.
Things are making sense.
I think that's one of the few places I didn't get fired from. Boy, I should have been.
Got fired over the kick, the tuck rule game. Standing out there watching it. I believe that was the game. But yeah, I got fired for watching playoff football while on shift, and that was frowned upon.
At a Crockett's? Which one were you at?
Excuse me. It was the predecessor. It was not Crockett's. This was Santa Fe. This was.
Yeah. Weren't you at? Which one were you at?
Santa Fe.
Which one were you at? Were you at the newer one that they opened up near the interstate?
Yes.
Okay.
Still can't believe I've been fired for a playoff game, but it happened.
The things that went on at the old one.
I think that's how I met Billy Bills.
I cannot tell those. Well, Billy Bills better keep his mouth shut on some of the stuff that went down.
we gotta have an armchair show meetup one time where we can hear all these behind the scenes stories with just the group.
Oh no, these are not retold ever again. These are tucked away deep down. That once a decade we get together and we hash them out. And
you're supposed to teach the youth. You're supposed to teach a guy like me some stuff.
We haven't done. So I did something called the Restaurant Revealed several years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, and it was a lot of fun. It was like a podcast. We might have to do that one time down the road. Anyone that wants to jump in, but there's definitely drinking involved because you can't be like hesitant to tell the story.
Yeah,
I have children. I'm not putting to tape any of these stories. I cannot take part in that. No, I cannot.
Amen.
Well, if you just want to show up and listen, I got some good ones.
I'm all in.
I need to find that. I need to find that tape of the old Restaurant Revealed. We went to record that at the old V Pizza that I worked at, and one of the owners freaked out so bad he had the area manager call me up wanting to know what the hell we were doing there, because what we were doing the next day we were doing a sports show from the restaurant live, and I brought the equipment in the night before we were closed. It was pretty routine that we would drink beer. He was concerned we were about to do a Restaurant Revealed while the restaurant was open, and then I was going to start telling stories about what was going on in their kitchen. I was like, this is all stuff from yesterday. Now you got to worry about it, because now I might do one about those days. That day you weren't concerned about it.
You got to watch Bills though. He holds on. So I will still do not. I remember the draft party when he was revealed to him where his green label went all them years ago and who was behind it. He had not forgotten.
Yeah. Well, the problem with Billy is he's usually not the one that's drunk. So he always remembers everything. And I've always felt like that wasn't fair.
That guy.
That's cheating.
It
really is.
It is cheating. But he and I and Casey Camp went into the damn gym one night. Well, 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning after drinking at Bullseyes all night into the wee hours. And I outbenched them like a champ. And I remember Casey Camp, I can't say what he said on air because it's foul, but it got me laughing so hard. I almost died because I had a lot of weight on me. And I got to laughing so hard because he just says it like right over me. I'll have to tell you all that story down the road. But I mean, I've got weights. I'm like, it's funny. And you also know you might die. Like, you don't know what's more important, to laugh and to let your chest get crushed or to push the weight back up.
Oh, this is fun.
All right. We are dragging on here. Let's go ahead and make our locks. Justin, I'll start with you. What's your one lock of the weekend?
I've said it all week. I'm going to stick with my Bengals. I'm going to take them plus 7.5.
All right.
I think they get the W, but I'm definitely taking the points.
All right. So that takes us to Joey. What is your one lock?
49ers plus 3.5, 6 in a row. Why not 7? Love the hook.
All right. If I'm going to do anything this show, I'm going to tease the Cincinnati and 49ers game. I would tease at 7 points, make it where the Chiefs just had to win and the Niners would get 10.5.
I like that.
And you'd get, I want to say you get about 80% of your money back. So like 100 to win about 80. It might be closer to 75, but I like that play the most.
Are you both predicting blowouts? I mean, for that game, getting no love for the Bengals at all. No showing.
I think Kansas. I don't know what you want to consider a blowout, but I think it's a 2-score victory, and that second score may be
2 field goals, 6 points. Okay,
a late trash touchdown. Justin, I saw what I saw. The Bengals are not very good. Tannehill was worse. And if any other quarterback in the National Football League was playing quarterback for the Titans, the Titans would be in this round. And I just think when he's running for his life and getting chased and not being able to move the ball, I think he's got a real issue.
I don't even think they opened it up. I think they showed they can win that ugly, gritty game, and they took away what Tennessee was doing.
Because he, I mean, from what I saw, he didn't have any time to pass.
Oh, they were wearing him out in the first half. He had all day in the second, and they started getting chased on the underneath, and that was their momentum and their movement. That's all it took. A little bit of mixing after that, and that's unfortunately how bad the Titans were. I mean, it didn't take anything.
And yet, if he just throws just 2 interceptions as opposed to 3, they win the game.
You can't give the one. That was one heck. The second one was an amazing football
The first
play.
one was stupid as hell.
I can't.
And don't even get me started on the play call.
Yeah.
Because you run the ball with Henry the first play. You don't.
Yes.
And then the second one was ridiculous, but at the same token, I'm still blaming him. And then the third one, he just tried to force it in there.
Yeah.
And anyways, they jumped it and they got a good carom in a way. They get, and I'm not going to take away anything from the Bengals, but Tannehill was the reason why he can't come back, but we'll talk about that down the road. What's your walk-off, Justin?
Man, great playoff weekend. It's this the last multiple game weekend we have, and then it's the dead season after the Super Bowl. So this is the last big get together and hoorah before the Super Bowl. So everybody be safe and enjoy.
Yeah, programming note: we won't have a show next week because no football. Ain't got no baseball to talk about. So what the hell's the point? So we'll be back on the on Super Bowl weekend. Joey, what's your walk off?
I walk off really quick. My brother found me something pretty cool. Got the GOAT Adam Vinatieri's autographed game worn hat he found online in an auction and actually won for me. So I respected that a lot to get the GOAT's autograph on and the certificate of authenticity. I thought that was a pretty cool gesture and from Adam Vinatieri.
Remind me to tell you the Adam Vinatieri story.
Please do.
If we ever do this restaurant reveal, because that's a funny one.
Have a good weekend, gentlemen.
All right. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we will be back with Mr. Doug.
Hi, this is Britney Spears.
What up, this Jay-Z.
This is Jennifer Lopez. Armchair.
A small town in Wisconsin was turned into the capital of football excellence by the Green Bay Packers. While there was talk of new formations, momentum, and mystique, the Packers went back to basics and proved the game was still one of blocking and tackling. They were a mix of old men reborn and golden boys with promise, blended by Vince Lombardi, who demanded total dedication from his team and got it. The Packer offense was not explosive. Rather, it was a power game, not built on deception, but on precise, devastating execution of a handful of plays. From the simple screen pass to the sweep to the trap play, their charge was as unified as Patton's Third Army. The Packers preferred the feel of a power sweep to the arc of a long pass.
Armchair.
Dread running to the post office? Stamps.com brings post office and UPS services right to your computer. Send letters, ship packages, and get up to 40% off USPS and up to 60% off UPS rates. Nearly 1 million small businesses use Stamps.com to save time and money. It's a no-brainer. So skip the post office and visit Stamps.com. Use promo code LISTEN for a 4-week trial plus free postage and a digital scale. That's Stamps.com, promo code LISTEN.
It all starts with just one thing. When recycling, rinse out jars and cans, and avoid recycling wax paper or paper soiled with food. This will reduce recycling contamination. Find tips and more at onethingus.com. What's your one thing?
This business partner of mine called. He's got a great plan. This is the man who's going to make us rich.
This is the man?
Yes.
This man lives in a cardboard box.
Times is tough.
Armchair.
Welcome back. Red Raiders, Doug with us. Doug, how are you?
Doing good, doing good.
How's your week been, sir?
It's been pretty hectic and busy, but I'm hanging in there.
So by this time, I really thought we would have a coach in Las Vegas. I'm really surprised that it's not Harbaugh. And now it looks like there's some traction on a couple other coaches.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you want when it's all said and done?
I've always said, and he's kind of an outsider, but I love him to death, and I think he's what we need. I had always wanted Doug Peterson. That's my personal favorite. I have a lot of respect for him as a player and as a coach, and what he did in Philadelphia, I just think he's what this team needs.
I don't know why Jacksonville hasn't hired him. He would be perfect for Jacksonville. You know, a guy who's won a Super Bowl, guy who can obviously mentor quarterbacks. Look, if you can get the best out of Nick Foles, I think you can get the best out of Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
He at one point had Carson Wentz looking like an MVP. That's a guy that I'm surprised is still without a job, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
So the Broncos finally get their guy, and I think that just smells of Aaron Rodgers going to Denver.
It does. When I heard that, I was like, ooh, because all the talk earlier that day was about, is Aaron Rodgers going to stay in Green Bay? Is Aaron Rodgers going to go to Green Bay? And I would say no at this point. Yeah, that was a big surprise because
he supposedly gets along with the OC pretty well, and
yeah,
so now he's the head coach. I think that's telling as far as, well, that's what Denver would like to do. Who knows what Green Bay wants to do, because they're the ones that hold the cards. Mm-hmm. But when you look at it from a standpoint of the fact that if I'm Green Bay, I'm not trading him to someone in my division, and I'm not trading to someone in my conference. If I'm going to trade Aaron Rodgers, I either want to trade him to Denver or work out something with Miami.
Yeah.
And to me, you have to look at, so now it's all reactionary, right? Mm-hmm. Because, okay, that's who they're going to get. Looks like, so let's just play the game of Denver's going to get Aaron Rodgers. Kansas City already has Patrick Mahomes. The Chargers already have the young gunslinger and Herbert.
Mm-hmm.
And Vegas is sitting there with Derek Carr. And Derek Carr's nothing to slouch at. But do they just go ahead and keep the interim on at a low rate? And if he doesn't do well, they can fire him and then look for something else next year. I've said all along that I think the guy got the right to be able to coach that team this year or next year.
I thought so too. But, it just, Aaron Rodgers going to Denver has been something that's been talked about, I would say, not just this season, but they were talking about this at the end of last season.
Sure, they were.
Last season. So,
but he couldn't get himself out of there.
No, and that was what surprised me. That's what kind of threw off what I was thinking. But I just tell you, with Hackett and this another GM they're bringing in, I would not be surprised. Now they're going to have to give up a lot for him. They're going to have to pay a huge price. So to me, from Hackett's point of view, this, bringing him over might be job insurance for the next, at least for the next 2 or 3 years.
I'm still surprised that we're sitting here going into conference championship weekend and we've only had a couple of jobs filled.
Yeah, it's been enormously quiet. Now I'll tell you, with the Raiders are having a little bit of a locker room problem with the coaching situation, because there's a lot of players who love Bisaccia. And they interviewed him today. Now, I don't know if that was just formality or whatever, but there are a lot of players. Max Crosby has talked about it, and others have talked about it, how they really want to keep him here, keep him there. So I'm intrigued by that, and I think that's why they're holding off. Now, that may be just for political sake. I don't know, but
right. Are you most likely? Who is your best guess? That they do end up with.
I just have this feeling because they fired Mike Mayock the way they did. I still feel in the end they're going to have Harbaugh's going to be there. That's who they've wanted, and they've wanted.
I'm surprised it hasn't happened already. And then there have been so many rumors pop out this week about where other names that I'm a little surprised. I was like, man, I thought they would make it happen. I thought he would have the glitz, because you got, if you're not going to just go ahead and bring back the coaching staff they already have, and you're going to go in a different direction, Vegas is going to want some glitz and glamour.
Yeah.
And a lot of these other guys are interviewing, not that they're not good football coaching candidates, but they don't give you that wow factor that you want for Las Vegas.
Yeah, I agree. Again, it's like I said.
I'll tell you something else, Doug. I don't mean to cut you off, but when the defensive coordinator left to go to Baltimore, I thought that was like the handwriting on the wall that Harbaugh is going to the NFL too.
I thought so too. That's why I resigned myself when you asked the question. I'm like, then I saw that. I'm like, yeah, this is a clean house. Harbaugh's coming in, going to bring his people, and it still may be. It still may be.
It just seems like it's taking a long time.
Yeah, it is taking a little bit longer than I suspected, but maybe they're just hedging their bets right now. They're going through what the process. So, and I think that's more than just the cool locker room. Who's, like I said, been a
the
big
name that's most intriguing to me that's jumped to the top is Josh McDaniels. He's getting a lot of tread towards a lot of different jobs, but by the way, I really wanted to talk to Joey about this, but I guess we'll talk to him tomorrow about the Bears hire of Matt Eberflus. That is like the opposite of an exciting signing.
Yeah, you would thought they would have brought in somebody like Hackett, an offensive mind. But
why are you not bringing an offensive guy to help out? Now, unless Eberflus told them the right things, I'm going to bring this guy in for my offensive coordinator. This guy's my quarterback coach, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe that's how they got sold. But Eberflus, I mean, he's done a good job as a defensive coordinator at the Colts, but he didn't do a good enough job to shut down the Jags to get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
And your biggest issue in Chicago is making sure that big draft pick that you grabbed and gave up a lot of draft capital to go get is successful.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to go through 2-3 head coaches and there just constantly not be any kind of structure. And, by the way, there's a alert that just popped up. LeBron James and Anthony Davis will not play tonight. Minor injuries. But Josh McDaniels to me is the most intriguing one. And if he doesn't get that job offer, why the hell are the Bears not going after him? Right? Why weren't they going after him?
Yeah.
Why were they going after Eberflus? I don't know who their coordinator, who is planning on bringing as an offensive coordinator that has them so excited.
I couldn't tell you. I can't even think of their minds. And as far as Josh McDaniels, please don't interview with Vegas. I hate that guy. I just have to throw it out there. Josh McDaniels is, I don't know. I wouldn't want him running my team. I just can't stand him. Things he pulled years ago. What was it when he was supposed to go coach for? It just slipped my mind who he's supposed to coach for. And he gets there and he goes, nah, I'm not going to coach for him. And all those families and everybody he brought in, they'd all moved. I can't remember what city he was supposed to coach in. I can't think of it. And then he pulled out. And then that told me a lot about his character. And that's why I wouldn't want him anywhere near Las Vegas.
I'm seeing a lot of tweets naming Josh McDaniels as head coach, but none of them are verified. I think a lot of them are tongue-in-cheek jokes.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I wasn't impressed with Josh McDaniels the first time around. I'm sure he's learned a lot, but I'm a little surprised that McDaniels doesn't want a younger quarterback to try and mold. Derek, to be honest with you, Eberflus would have been a nice hire by the Raiders. He just goes and builds the defense, and he's already got a veteran quarterback that can man a pretty talented offense.
Yep, that's why he was in my top 5 of coaches that I thought would interview well with the Raiders.
An offensive head coach for the Raiders. I think you almost need a defensive coach. Anyways, we will move on from that. You're a baseball guy. I'm pretty excited about what's happened this year in the negotiations. What say you?
Yeah, I was relieved when I saw that. I'm thrilled to death. Yeah, I couldn't be happier right now.
I don't think we miss a single day of spring training. I think it's turning that well. Now, that's a lot to say because, spring training games. Pitchers and catchers are supposed to report. What is it? Is it 2 weeks?
I think it's
Monday
2 weeks.
Or Tuesday, somewhere in that neighborhood. 2 weeks from Tuesday. So you might get a little bit of a delay, but I think right around that time period is where we can get something ironed out.
Yeah, and it's looking like it will. So the 2 weeks ago,
the 2 big steps they made on Monday and Tuesday, that went a long way to seeing something develop.
Yeah. And just 2 weeks ago, I didn't think we were going to have a fantasy baseball season. I was like, oh God, if these guys don't.
Oh, we'd have a fantasy baseball season if we got to play KBO.
Oh man. Go.
Fantasy baseball greater than any other fantasy sport.
True.
I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
We got to figure out how many leagues we're going to do on that. I think a lot of guys are wanting to scale it back, but we'll get all that figured out because we're going to do some downtime here, getting ready for some stuff. Just programming reminder for folks once again, next Friday, no show because the Super Bowl is the following week. So we're going to take the week off and get ready for the Super Bowl show. And then after that, we're going to take some weeks off getting ready for March Madness and all that kind of stuff. I always like to give folks a break during the month of February because there's not a lot to talk about. And there's even less to talk about this year because there's no free agent signings and whatnot. So 2 weeks from tonight will be the last show until sometime. I haven't figured out when we're coming back in March, but sometime in March. With all that being said, we're going into the NFC and AFC championship games. Who are you liking in these games?
I'll tell you the lock. My big lock are the Rams. Take Rams, take the points. I
Really?
think that's a done deal. That's a done deal. Garoppolo isn't playing that well. He's hurt. I think the Rams are playing on all cylinders, and I think they've got the 49ers number. I just really do. I know a lot of people, but feel the 49ers might. I don't see it. After watching what I watched last week with the Rams, I mean, I know they tried to give the game away. God knows they went out of their way to try to lose. But I don't think you're going to see that again this week, especially against
the 49ers number, even though they've lost they got swept this year by the Niners, and they've lost 6 of the last 7 against the Niners.
In this game, I'm not saying in this season. Maybe I shouldn't have said it like that. I just think this is the Rams' time, and it's going to be a good game, but I think the Rams are going to win this game. That is my lock, and I'll stick with it.
And you think they're going to cover the spread?
Yes.
So yeah, I think I'm actually going to put some money on the Niners to win outright. I really like the Niners, and it might just be me pulling for them. I'm pulling for San Fran at this point. I'd like to see a San Fran versus anything Super Bowl. I don't care if it's the Bengals. I don't care if it's the Chiefs. I'd rather see San Fran in there than the Rams. And I never thought I would say that growing up as a kid. Absolutely hated the Niners, but I like these players. And I don't even dislike the Rams. I just like the Niners more. And I like you're always going to get me on the side of your team if they're a physical football team. And that's why I like the Niners. They're a physical football team. That was a fun game that I think I watched last Saturday. That was after the Titans game, so I was a little groggy to begin with. We tried to put okay, so it's freezing cold outside. I'm out there watching the game by myself. At one point, I had a long phone conversation with Waller, but my wife was trying to hook me up and make it warm out there. So I pulled out this little mini space heater, and it was going to be enough, but she's always going that extra mile wanting to help out. And I didn't notice it because I was hammered at the time, but she had already hooked up a fairly large space heater. And I did not show she had done it. If I would have known she had hooked that one up, I would have never even tried to hook up the other one. She hooks it into the same outlet.
Oh.
I don't know. Middle of the first quarter. Bam! Lights go out. I'm sitting there drunker than a skunk going, all right, what happened here? I had not realized what she'd done. She goes, oh, I bet that second heater blew it. I was like, you put this. I was, anyways, I had to flip the switch and get the lights back on. So literally the lights went out. Then the lights went out again right as I went to bed because I don't remember anything. But I like watching the physical football team, so I'm going to be pulling for San Fran. It's a nostalgia thing for us if it ends up being San Fran versus Cincy, because twice they played when we were kids. It's not really that cool because it's not a rivalry, right? So to me, it's really more important if it becomes a rematch of the Niners Kansas City that just happened a couple of years ago, because you got a lot of the same players, right? So I don't buy I keep hearing people talk about, oh, it'd be cool to see the Niners and Bengals. I'm like, would it? Who gives a crap? No, because all you're pulling for is laundry. No one cares about these players or these, these uniforms.
Yeah.
I think it would be a fun Super Bowl if it ends up being the Bengals versus, we'll just say, the Rams, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you get Matthew Stafford, who's bound to throw interceptions at bad times, but they're going to air it out, and you've got Joe Burrow and company who are, they're not scared to sling it either. So your lock is you're going with the Rams minus 3.5. That's an interesting one. The thing I can't figure out that I keep going back and forth on is whether or not that 49er Rams game is going to be a high scoring game. The over under is only 45.5.
Yeah. I thought that was a little bit low, but I thought it was a little low. I had it at 50.
It does. But then if you look at the last game, they only scored 51, right?
Yeah.
And they're even more familiar with each other, right? Because now this is the third time, and usually that spells a low scoring game.
True.
I'm a little gun shy on grabbing the over or under on that game. Even if I tease it, I don't know which way to go with that. I feel like Bengals Chiefs is going to be a high scoring game no matter what.
Yeah, that's an entirely different story. That one that I'm betting against the spread. It's going to be high scoring, but I think it's going to end on a field goal. It's going to be
54 and a half is the over under in that game.
I could easily see it being 74. I could easily see it that way.
What I'm tempted to do in a teaser on that is take Bengals Chiefs and take the over and tease that with Rams Niners in the under. So that would push Rams Niners to 51 and a half and Bengals Chiefs to 48 and a half.
Right.
You're still going to get a little clinchy if there's a couple of quick touchdowns in the Niners Rams game. You go, uh-oh, here we go. But I feel like the Niners eat the clock and they grind the ball. I just feel like that's going to be a lower scoring game. Whoever wins, I see like 24-21, 21-17 type of ball game. I think you're going to have a pretty low scoring first half. Bengals Chiefs, so I feel like the first 5 possessions, Chiefs are probably going to score 5 times, and the Bengals might score 3. So you could have 8 touchdowns at the half.
Easily,
right, let's go ahead and get towards the end of this. Oops. Time to turn back time and birthdays and all that walk-off jazz. Turn back time when I have better eyesight. On this date, let's head to 2009, where David Weathers decides to stay in Cincinnati after signing a 1-year deal that guarantees the 39-year-old reliever $3.9 million. Member of the Reds pitching staff for the past 4 seasons, the right-hander compiled 4-6 record with a 3.25 ERA in 72 appearances of the bullpen. I don't know why that was put in the turn back time like on this date. Do you?
No, I don't.
It's kind of a meh signing. I'm starting to think the guy that runs this is a Reds fan. But I wanted to bring it up to you because I'm a little curious by why in the world, why is that such a big deal? On this date, 1958, though, Roy Campanella is paralyzed in an automobile wreck. One of the more memorable things that happened in sports history in the last 100 years. Also on this date, 1969, the Buffalo Bills drafted your boy O.J. Simpson.
I wonder where he is.
I wonder whatever happened to that guy. Also, this date, 1990, the ass whipping that was Niners Bengals. Niners Broncos, excuse me.
Oh,
Joe Montana and company, 55-10 winners over John Elway. I've always had a hard time putting John Elway in my top 5 because of that game.
I don't blame you.
When you get beat that badly in the Super Bowl, are you a great? I don't know. It wasn't like that was his first or second year. Elway had been in the damn league.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Birthdays.
It's your birthday today. What does that mean? I guess
Nick Price. Wow. Nick Price is 64 years old. I almost feels like he ought to be older. So happy birthday, Nick Price. Happy birthday. Let's see one that you may I always like to find one that makes everyone feel old. Damn, you know what? How is Jermaine Dye only 48 years old? I feel like that dude's been out of the league for like 20 years.
Well,
one of my favorite players, and it made me so mad when the Braves got rid of him. Speaking of a guy who's still banging around in the NBA, Andre Iguodala. He's 38 years old today.
Oh.
Oof. What the hell's he doing still playing? What is your walk-off for the day?
My walk-off, we were talking about coaches. Wouldn't be surprised, not this offseason, but if the Cowboys have another bad season, Mike McCarthy be gone. With Sean Payton leaving New Orleans, I'm telling you, he's going to take next year off.
He might as well go ahead and take the job.
Well, that's what he says, but don't be surprised if Sean Payton ends up in Dallas.
It looks like the breaking news, the Giants are going to hire the Bills offensive coordinator as their new head coach.
It makes sense. That makes sense for them. Yeah. Ebola, whatever his name is.
Yeah, Brian DeBole.
Yeah.
Well, they're trying to grab him to make him the guy that taught Josh Allen. They're seeing a lot of Daniel Jones and Josh Allen. I don't see it, man. I don't think they're the same quarterback. I think the Giants should have went out and got a defensive guy, treaded water with their offense this year, and then went out and spent one of their draft picks next year on a quarterback.
Yep.
My walk-off is, well, it's the last weekend for football. We got three football games left. So you get a full day on Sunday and then Super Bowl 2 weeks from Sunday. Kind of sucks. Kind of gets depressing. But my walk-off is Jeff Fisher's backing the coaching ranks. How about that? Jeff Fisher got hired as the head coach of the USFL team. I think it's the Birmingham Stallions, but I forgot where he went. But anyways, he got hired by the USFL. They've now hired all 8 of their coaches. And I was right originally. The thing that I read, I thought I was way off. They're going to play all 43 games of the USFL in Birmingham. And I don't understand how you can name the Tampa Bay Bandits, the New Jersey Generals, the Pittsburgh Maulers. How do you name? That's where Jeff Fisher's going. He's going to the Michigan Panthers. How can you name them the Michigan this, the New Jersey, when they're going to play every single game in Birmingham, Alabama? It's a jamboree. That's all it is.
Yep.
I want the real USFL back. Not this junk. I don't want a bunch of games played in one site. What the hell do you care? All that means is that you will geographically get games because of where you're at.
Yeah.
But from my understanding, every single game is going to be televised. So I don't think it's going to be one of these situations where you can't get certain games. Most of them are going to be televised on Fox and FS1. I think I saw that NBC and Peacock TV, and then there's a third one. Anyways, all 43 games are to be televised. So, all right, brother, we will see you 2 weeks from tonight. And
all right.
Have a great weekend, y'all. Go Niners. If I can find that damn man, I'm about to give up on this. There it is.
It's Friday, working stiffs. Everybody.
4, 3, 2, 1. Happy weekend. Goodbye, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. We're back tomorrow with another show. Well, unless we're fired, we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, sweetheart. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Guys and gals, it's time to go. We'll see you on the next show.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thanks for listening to the Armchair Quarterbacks on these CBS Sports affiliates and catching the show on YouTube Live. We're here weekdays. Find Armchair Quarterbacks on YouTube Live today. Please subscribe and share and take us everywhere you go. The Armchair Quarterbacks, your first choice for Southern sports talk, live from the First Coast.
Can I get another cigarette, please? Can I get another cigarette, please? Yeah.